Hey everybody, we're back. We've got an interview here with Ahmed and Corey. Great game last round, guys. Congratulations, Ahmed. 2 close games.
Yes.
I know the time win's tough, but very well played on both sides. So, Corey, I want to start with you first. Talk to me through industrial genomics. We haven't seen it on the stream today. The lesser played ID. Talk to me about what was going through your mind. What got you to bring genomics today?
So I've been watching that Bloodlock deck that's been posted on Netrunner DB, and it's awesome. I always like to play attrition. And I just love some cool tweaks to it by adding things like blacklist, adjusting the ice layout, and it's been doing awesome. Like all of my games, I pretty much ran the runner dry.
Yeah.
It's actually the first runner that was able to get the levy off.
Yeah.
I couldn't get to the other blacklist to try to keep it locked out.
We were commenting on it. Ahmed, I said, the play of the game was you being able to manage around enough to get the levy off because we were watching your hand and saying, when's Ahmed going to levy? When's it coming?
Yeah.
How'd you play around that? How'd you play around it?
I checked almost every remote he installed.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure I knew where it was, that it wasn't behind ice.
Yeah.
And when he first put the first one behind ice, I was like, it's a priority to get to it. Because depending on what the ice is, I may not be able to get through it again, right?
Yeah.
Because he can re-ice when he knows, oh, he's out of lady counters or such and such in the trash. I think Mimic was in the trash at the beginning.
Yeah.
That was a big problem because I
Okay.
didn't want to put a
Yeah.
Tsurugi in front of it or something that I just couldn't get through cheaply, because then if I had to take 3 net damage from Tsurugi, trash, I could die.
Yeah. One of the stories of this game we were talking about, and the stream was talking about it a lot as well, hostile infrastructure. Big card for this deck. Ahmed, tell me, you left the hostile infrastructures on the board. It's such a tough decision. Tell me just what was going through your mind
If
as
I
you
didn't
played
lose
through
my
it?
stim hack to net damage, I would have stim hacked into it.
Okay.
That was my plan. But then I can't pay 5, take net damage, and then have him maybe interns it back.
Yeah.
That'd be too painful.
Most of the game I was sitting on a reclamation order, and so
Yeah.
it's usually like, well, if he's going to trash all my hostiles, I'll let him do it one at a time, and then I'll just reclamation order them all right back and then put them.
It's hard. I think my biggest mistake, I should have just ran all the remotes early because the first melange was really devastating. I was like, that's just and then they just kept worse than another melange. Then I just left them. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was hoping I can just hit the agendas that are easy to steal because you obviously got future perfects. Maybe I can win one, and then I'll just try to hit easy agendas. And just not get snared. I was really the hardest thing is to play around snare.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, you don't have to really worry about it. I've been makers for 5 all the time. I'll have 2 RDIs, all makers for 5, and I'll not really be scared. I might even have 1 card in hand. Usually you're not worried about it, but IG you really are worried about it.
Yeah.
And so I'd always have to play around having 6 cards. It's hard to access with 6 cards.
Now, talk me through.
I kept getting bummed every time I would knock out your legwork.
Yeah.
Because my hand was snare, fetal.
I don't think I
had
would
a shock. And I was just like, I have the perfect hand.
I
for
made
the
the
legwork.
comment. It is a Trojan techie player's hand.
Unless you had less than 7, I would never legwork because
Yeah.
I can't hit 2 snares. Anything else, I can probably work around it, whatever you eat.
Yeah.
But 7's usually it used to be 4. They have less
Right.
than 4, I'll legwork. Now it's hey, do you have 7?
Now, Corey, talk me through, we saw you putting a lot of face-down agendas into archives. Talk us through your strategy with how you manage the agendas that are in your deck. Because at a point in time, you had a fistful, and then you start kind of slowly putting them into archives.
Well, one of the things I was hoping to get to another Jackson early, and it took until late game. And I think one of the mistakes is I was always worried about the legwork initially before I built up the murder hand.
Yep.
So I needed to get rid of agendas. And I think later in the game where I was just trying to get the one before him, it slowed me down because I had the fetal ready to score, and if I could have just got to another agenda, I could have installed it advanced and tried to go on match point.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I found in my games, people hit the archives once, take all the shocks, the Hokusai damage, and then they're just scared to go back again. So usually I can just hide stuff. And then sometimes those agendas are future perfects, which you're not guaranteed to get.
Yeah.
So you run, you side game, you take a bunch of net damage, and then you're like, sweet, I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
Now I can go back and die and go through it again. So it's just a good place to tuck it, especially against shapers who love to draw tons of cards and dig R&D really hard. Because I know you kept getting a confused look on your face and you were just like, where are the agendas? You were just
Well, I figured they were there, but I was I wanted to at least access 2, then deplete the deck. Then when I run archives, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Then the density is really high, which it was. When you looked at the end, I think we flipped it over.
Yeah, with Jackson. I said once you shuffle 6 back in, it's amazing what happens to the density.
Yeah, it's I hit the last 2 gems were it was agenda that I stole to win. There was a future perfect. Then 2 bar below that was NEPD.
Yeah. You would have been good either way. So a lot of it is I think early whenever I dumped off when I got the second Jackson, I dumped too many agendas. And I should have held because I pretty much had the scoring remote set up and I had more money like just
Yeah, the money was
insane amounts
insane.
of money.
It was fun. It was fun to watch the Sundew go off and just kind of sit there and creep up. So let's flip over to the other side. So we start off on the runner game. I think where it really got interesting for me was we see the Vamp, as Reyna tends to do. Talk to me, Corey. I know Vamp. You've got two of them in your deck. What's your timing on the Vamp? What's kind of the conditions that you're looking for before you fire it off?
Usually, a lot of it's if I get something that can try to recur econ, or if I get to where like the corpse trying to score out.
Yep.
And a lot of times when that install goes, like you get worried about the Nisei.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, well, if I could steal a Nisei early, like that's great, I'll take it. Of course, it was NAPD, and that's always the one like you want to get the least, but I had to go for it.
So Ahmed, what are you thinking after you get Vamp down to nothing?
Yeah,
how do you fight back?
I'm so bad about the Vamp. The worst part is I had a Caprice in my hand. I should know this, that I installed a Caprice here and a Caprice in the remotes so I can prevent the Vamp. But then that's also the reason that's the reason I tried NAPD first, because like if he does something weird, at least like maybe he can't seal it, which I was okay with. I don't know. I think both those games would have been played differently if we had more time, because we were really rushed.
Yeah,
I think I made one huge mistake. I realized afterwards. I rezzed Toll Booth the second time. I didn't need to.
It was tough.
I didn't expect.
I should not have
all.
rezzed it at all.
Yeah.
Like it's really stupid actually when you look back at it. Because if I hadn't done that, I would have had the money to try to score 2 twos. Like because that's the problem. Like I kept seeing 2-pointers. I was like, "Where's the future perfect?" At the end, like I kept looking. I kept looking. If I had done it the other way around, I could have even scored a Nisei and then tried again.
Yeah, so one of the cards, I thought the thing that did the most work for you was Daily Business Show. I mean, once you got 2 online, you were
like I never had an agenda
Yeah.
if I wasn't going to score at that turn. Like that's one of the best things about it. It's just, it works really well.
We were coming on stream. I mean, Corey, you were very disciplined in going to kill the Sundews, the mental health clinics, and I mean, at a certain point, I'm sure you can say, I've only got so much money. I've got to pick my battles.
Yeah.
How do you decide? Do I go for the econ assets in that deck, or do I go for the draw engine?
You usually go for the econ first. I do run 2 scrubbers in that deck.
Yeah,
and so if I could get to the scrubbers early, then it allows me to get to all that stuff and just like mop it up, like real simple. But it's one of those like you eventually get to the point if you can keep the lock on, they can get all the cards they want, but if they can't play them, it's not doing them any good.
No, that makes sense. Well, guys, we got to wrap up to let these guys go back and play so they can close out their round. So we've got Ahmed, we've got Corey. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck in your last round. Yeah. Hopefully you guys close it out. We can see you in top 8, see a few more games. But thanks again.
Hopefully.
We'll be coming back to you. We're coming back. We've got round 5 results, I'm being told. Okay, so we're going to take a short break. We'll come back. We'll go through the results, and then we'll go into last round before the cut. Thank you, guys. Stick with us.
Cool. Sweet.